Building inspectors and fire investigators are back on the scene of yesterday's deadly fire in the Bronx, which claimed the lives of 19 people, including 9 children. State and local leaders are on site yesterday, vowing to help the tight-knit Gambian community devastated by this tragedy.
Tonight is a night of tragedy and pain, and tomorrow we begin to rebuild. We rebuild their lives and give them hope, especially those who came all the way from Africa, Gambia, in search of a better life right here in this great borough.
200 firefighters on the front lines of that fire all day, helping pull residents to safety. Some of them ran out of oxygen in their tanks and continued their efforts anyway. This morning, we're joined by the FDNY Lieutenant James McCarthy. He's the president of the Uniformed Firefighters Association, with an update on how his men and women are doing this morning. Good morning to you, Lieutenant McCarthy. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
So,
how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, on such a tough morning. You know, we saw a tweet sent out late yesterday which said one of your members did suffer some serious injuries. So how many firefighters were injured and or hospitalized fighting yesterday's blaze? We understand some of them ran out of oxygen but just kept going.
Well, over 200 firefighters responded to this incident and performed above and beyond the call of duty to try and save lives in this situation. Fire on the lower floors, that the smoke impacted everybody on the upper floors, 15, 16 story in the building, and firefighters responded throughout the building to save lives. And 2 of the members were brought to the hospital, and there was consideration of putting them in the hyperbaric chamber to do oxygen therapy, but they have recovered from those injuries and have been sent home.
Oh, that's good to hear. Now, we understand that despite having low oxygen in their own tank, several firefighters continued to search for the survivors, a testament to their dedication. So how long does the oxygen actually last in those tanks?
Well, it's a 45-minute cylinder on your that we usually carry in the fire department, and you have about approximately 10 minutes of escape time, where an alarm goes off when your air is low and you're supposed to exit the situation, the smoke-filled area. Now, generally, firefighters, when they're trying to save lives, especially with situations like this, they will work past when the alarm goes off and continue working until they save lives and continue doing their job as long as possible, and then exit at the last minute or remove their breathing apparatus. Yeah. Although we don't require that.
Help us understand the situation inside the building, right, and the conditions these firefighters face, because many of the victims in these cases died of smoke inhalation. We understand the fire was really contained to that one duplex apartment, but with such a loss of life, it just goes to show how that smoke quickly went up. The stairwells, I guess, acting like a chimney of sorts. So what have firefighters met with inside of a building when this is going on?
Well, it's a little bit of a different building. It's a federal building, doesn't follow New York City standards of fire protection. So there were vents in the lower floors that brought the smoke up to the upper floors. So it came down to a situation where the smoke was down to the floor level. So anybody that was in that situation had to crawl on their stomach in the floor to get down to the area where there's oxygen. So that's where the firefighters operate. And the people in those residents don't necessarily know that that's where they're going to find their oxygen. So the firefighters go in there with their breathing apparatus and carry them out or rescue them, bring them into the air where they can breathe.
Yeah, maybe you can help clarify this then, because there were a lot of questions about the New York City fire codes, and you just said that this doesn't necessarily apply to this particular building, because New York City fire codes, they require apartment doors to have those spring-loaded doors, and the person that was leaving the apartment that had the fire, that door did not shut. So does this particular building, do you know, was it required to have those spring-loaded doors?
The New York City Fire Department certainly does a very good job of doing public service announcements about closing the door if you have a fire. But this is a federal building that doesn't have to follow New York City fire codes. It's built with federal money. So it's a different situation there. But we, the companies, fire companies in that area, are aware of the situation in these buildings, and they operate accordingly. But again, as you said, these doors are not required to have them, but
Wow.
They should. And that's one
Right.
of the problems we have with federal buildings in our response areas.
Thank you for clarifying that, because it is a law for New York City owned and operated buildings.
Yeah.
And just briefly before we let you go here, you know, firefighters, obviously they do this each and every single day. But with this kind of loss of life and with these kind of children, what are the days and months ahead looking like for the department in terms of treating them for things like PTSD or emotional issues moving forward?
It's always difficult when there's a loss of life, because firefighters have their own families and their own children, and thinking about those that they help save in these situations, and that's their job. But it does take an emotional toll on all of us. Many of the firefighters will seek help from our counseling service unit or each other, peer counselors we have, as well as professional counselors, peer counselors, other firefighters that are trained in this situation, where they can talk to their brothers and sisters that responded to this situation, and go through the experiences that they had, and make sure that they're safe.
Yeah, well, there is a reason why they are called New York's bravest, but they are also human. Lieutenant McCarthy, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thanks to all the men and women who serve on New York's fire department.
Thank you very much.
All right, 7:42 right now.